Welcome future developers in lesson 9. It's 9 already. Over the time we learned so many cool things. You are familiar with the basics such as loops and conditionals. You learned about data structures and you tried several different projects. Now it might be a good time to talk about file handling. You probably noticed that your computer game is not just one file. It might be though, but it usually isn't. It is because plenty of things are stored somewhere else. From the gamer perspective, you might need to save your progress. Or you might just need to save your options, your settings. You probably don't want to start your game all over again every time you run it. And you probably don't want to go through your settings again and again. There might be even a feature running in the background, hidden from the player, such as error logging. You might notice these boxes here or there when the application crashes, asking you if they can send data to the developers for further analysis. So let's take a look at how to handle files in Python. First thing you should know is how to open the file, which already exists. If you need to open the file, we can use function open. You can see we have 3 different files here, and the function open have different second argument for each of them. R, W, A. R means read, W means write, and A means append. You should decide what you want to do with your file. Do you want to just read what's there? Do you want to write something there and rewrite what exists? Or do you want to append new information? And that's the basic way how to open file. But if you need to open it and read some data afterwards, or let's say write something there is a better way, using with. The open part is very similar. I'm just saying with something as file. And this is more convenient because when you finish working with file, it's always good to close it to somehow finish up. This with statement will do it for you. So just open your file, work with it, and the rest will be handled by Python. First way how we can read the content is using read function. And the read function just returns everything which is in the file and assigns everything to some variable. Second way how to read the file is line by line. File itself is iterable, means we can use for. And to have just pure line without any trailing characters, leading white spaces, we can use strip function. Writing to a file is very similar. You should just replace R with W or A if you want to append and use a write function. Just a reminder, the /n, what you can see in the end, is marked for a new line. In a real-life scenario, if you need to open the file, it's a good practice to always check beforehand if the file exists. And if the file doesn't exist, you should handle the situation gracefully. It means that your application shouldn't crash. What happens if you don't handle reading from your files carefully? Well, CrowdStrike showed us some time ago. One way how to check if file exists is using exception handling. We can use try and except. It means using try and a block and except and a block. To try a block, just write your code as usual. For the except, you should specify what exception can happen. The exception is something what you reasonably cannot prevent from happening. We can have some network issues, we can have not enough space on your hard drive, or well, in this case the file doesn't exist. So if you are trying to open the file, we can fish for exception file not found. If you run the code and the file does exist, nothing weird is going to happen, just as usual. However, if the file doesn't exist, it will give you this log message informing you that, well, something bad happened. Just wanted to show you some practical applications. Here you can see a simple code to saving game state using function. Here is a code how to load game state in a similar manner. You can see that I'm using try and except, as we talked before. And here is a code how you can store a high score. You can see that in principle they are very similar, basically the same. And now, time for the project. We are going to expand the idea we started last time by adding save and load. We are going to give player a chance to save the progress and load it later in case he or she wants to quit or just accidentally died. This is how it looks. Enter your name. I'll go with Pavel. No save file found. Starting new game. Health 100, golf 0. Do you want to battle, save or quit? Battle. A monster appears. It has 26 health. Do you want to attack or run? Attack. You deal 11 damage. Monster health 15. The monster attacks. Your health 95. Attack again. 8 damage. Attack again. You deal 11 damage. Monster health -4. You won. We lost some health, but also gained some gold. Now I want to save my game. Game save and quit. Thanks for playing. If I run it again and enter the same name as before. Game loaded. Health 88, gold 28. How cool is that? Let me quit and start another game. Let's say Jane this time. No save file found. Starting new game. Not only we have general safe and low system, we have system able to recognize players from each other. Time to dig in. Import random. This immediately tells you we are going to work with random numbers. You can take a guess that we are going to randomize something about the combat. I have functions here, so I can scroll to the very bottom and see that the first called function is main. Main is here. So this is how my game starts. Enter your name. I can run it again and write something here, Ivan. So Ivan is saved to player name. Now I'm calling method loadGame with the player name. Control click. I have try and accept. This stands for exception handling, and this is a practical example of the good practice. I'm trying to open a file which has player name underscore save txt. If the player chooses the same name next time, his game is going to continue. We are going to check this branch later. For now, the exception happened. We don't have file like that. Thus, no save file found, starting new game, as you can see here. What we are going to return is 100 and 0. See, that's pretty cool. I can return two values, and these two values are going to be associated with these two variables, health and gold. Here is a loop. The loop is going to repeat as long as health is positive and non-zero. Here I'm going to print stats, health and gold, using the variables health and gold, which has been initialized above. Do you want to battle, save, or quit? The choice is decided here. Let's start with battle. Battle is handled in function battle. You can see I'm sending health and gold. Enemy health is the health of the enemy. For that, I'm going to choose random number between 20 and 50, followed by a message a monster appears. It has that much health. Here is another loop. You can see from the condition that enemy must be alive and player must be alive as well. Input, do you want to attack or run? Let me try attack. And that's branch over here. Damage will be random number between 5 and 15. Enemy health is going to be decreased by the damage I dealt. Here I'm going to notify the player what happened. You deal damage, monster health, enemy health. I'm asking, is enemy alive? If yes, it is going to injure the player. Player health is going to be decreased by a random number between 5 and 10. And message, the monster attacks, as you can see here. That's really it, the loop starts again. Do you want to attack or run? I want to run. Oh, couldn't escape. Code is here. I'm rolling a dice asking for a random number, and this function returns a random number between 0 and 1. I'm giving player 50% chance to escape. Unfortunately, it didn't happen now, so the monster attacked us again. Couldn't escape, and we lost some health. And again we are at the start. Let me attack several times to end the monster. When enemy health is below 0, we are going to jump here. If health, it means if player is alive, we are going to generate some random reward, and we are going to add it to the amount of gold player has. You won, you found reward gold, which is here. And we are going to return new values for health and gold, because player most likely lost some health and got some gold. We are back in this loop, asking again, do you want to battle, save, or quit? I'm going to save. Game saved. And let me show you the file. If you check the folder with your game, you will see this. Ivan save, with two lines, 60 and 11. Save game is handled here, with arguments player name and health gold. I open the file, player name save txt, for the writing, and write there, health, new line, and gold. Print the message, and that's it, it's that easy. Last choice to check is Q. Game saved, thanks for playing. Take a look what happened. Not only I'm going to save the game when player wants, I'm also going to save the game when player quits. I will run the game again and use the same name. Game loaded. This happened here in load game again. However, instead of this branch, we are going to work with this one. I'm going to open player name save txt for a reading, and the file actually exists. Read line returns one line from the file, and strip remove all of the white characters, new lines, trailing white spaces, everything you don't want to see. First line will be health, second line will be gold. Let me check the file. First line is 60,
Second line is 11. I write game loaded and return these two things, health and gold. And as you can see here, 60, 11. And that's about it. With this project, you can have plenty of fun. One of the things you can improve is actual saving and loading. Problem is that now, however cool it is, you can cheat very easily. I want to have more life, let's say 80, or more gold, 110. If I say this and run my game, even, see, 80, 110. Maybe you can think of another way how to save the information. What could be also interesting change is to implement things from the previous lesson and incorporate some sort of weapons. As you can see now, everything is random. The damage, even the amount of gold you are going to get. Maybe player can have some choice, let's say equip a different weapon which can change the damage the player is going to deal. You can even think about armor, about giving a chance for defense for player and for the monsters too. Whatever you are going to do, don't forget, the most important thing is to have fun. And that's it for today. File handling principles are something that you really cannot live without. They are everywhere because plenty of other things are stored in a file coming from the outside. You can think of some generic game engine. You can actually do some backbone application and feed all the data it needs from the outside. And this is great because, for instance, you can write the engine simulating the books, the interactive books, where you can choose, here is a path, you can go to left or you can go to right. If you want to go to left, find page 53. If you want to go right, find page 64. This book can be saved in one file, and your program just search the file for the correct anchor or whatever, for the correct label, and print the text below it to a user. And if user makes another choice, search in the file and again, print to the user. If you make something like that, you can give your application even to someone who is not a developer, who is creator. Basically anyone can write his or her own story, feed it into your engine, and make interactive game. And the same as before. Enjoy, experiment, and don't just think that you understood the topic. It's important to sit down and try to write something. You must assure yourself that you really get the topic. And how can you find that you did? Is that you write the code, you run the code, and it works exactly as you want it. We have one more lesson in front of us. Next time, we are going to tackle a huge thing, what you should at least hear about if you are serious about software development, and that's object-oriented programming. So if you like what you saw, if you want to see more in the future, don't forget to hit subscribe, and see you next time.